549, that's where Mount Proteus stands in Guwahati, and India's attempt to try and save the test, which would need them to bat somewhere around 100 overs, is already jilted by the loss of their openers. It's a day where South Africa have effectively sealed what will be a first Test series win for them in India in 25 years. So we look to unpack things from day 4 in Guwahati on ESPNcricinfo Matchday. One final time today, have the company of Saba, Karim in our studios, and what will surely be an even further beaming Vernon Philander, who joins us from South Africa. 20 for 3 was your call at lunch. Not too far off, 27 for 2, 8 wickets to go.
Yeah, I think South Africa would be pleased with that session. I think another dominating performance from them. I think from my personal experience, perhaps they've left the declaration a little bit too late, but I get the reason why they've done it. They try to get Tristan Stubbs to the 3-figure score. But yeah, I think another wonderful day for South African cricket. But also, I think they'll perhaps look at where the game is at and the amount of the amount of turn that is on offer for the spinners, and they certainly feel that they perhaps don't need 100 plus overs, but perhaps 100 overs will be sufficient to get to a result. But again, wonderful with the ball. I think Marco Jansen starting an opening spell against Jaiswal, really uncomfortable for him. And when you start a spell like that, it really sends a message to the dressing room. So I think the message has been sent in terms of the intensity that he started out with. That it's not going to be easy there. South Africa want to dominate in that last hour, and to pick up Tufa and to pick up Rahul, I think was the big wicket for me, because I know he can bat time and allow those guys to bat around him. But I think the big wicket for me would have been Rahul.
I want to unpack all of those bits. The 2 wickets India have lost, South Africa's timing with the declaration. But does it in a way also reflect just how much the confidence has swung? If you thought on day 1 of this series that South Africa will be in a position where they'll need to decide how much time they want, it's a sign of where the series has moved, that they feel confident enough in the form of their spinners and also, might I say, the lack of form for their opponents, that they feel 100 overs, we're in with a fair shot to win this.
Yeah, seems like that, Yash. Otherwise, why would you delay your declaration? I thought that maybe 4 sessions would have been perfectly timed for South Africa to bowl India out. But here I feel that the South African bowling attack and the entire team management feels that close to about 100 odd overs would be enough. And the way they have started, this has been an excellent session for them. India 2 down already. That also of KL Rahul and Yashasvi Jaiswal, both of them capable of batting for longer duration of time. So South Africa right on top at this stage. But I still feel, hopefully for South Africa, it should not cost them dear, this delay in declaration, because they should not forget that you're actually fighting for some valuable WTC points. And WTC points are calculated on points won divided by points contested. So points contested is 24, and if they win this test match, then they will win. They will also
24.
gain those 24 points. Yeah. So from this series, they will have 100% percentile record.
Yeah, let's take that straight to Vernon, because 24 hours from now, there will be celebration, and all of that will be richly deserved. But if India were to pull off a resistance good enough to last day 5, those 8 points that South Africa stand to lose, this is where they'll look, that declaration could have been earlier.
Yeah, I think the only thing I can put it down to was perhaps to try and have a relatively still newies ball tomorrow morning when they come back. So they knew, obviously they're going to get into the vicinity of about between 15 and 20 overs this evening. So I think the only thing I could put that declaration down to is to have a slightly harder new ball available to them tomorrow morning. So when they come out, fire up a Marco Jansen again, and the ball hasn't lost its hardness, so the seamers will still be effective. So, and yeah, I mean, you look at how this game is unfolded. I think realistically, they're going to back themselves to bowl India out in 100 overs. So, yeah, I mean, there's perhaps that second new ball available late tomorrow afternoon, but I don't even think they're looking at that second new ball. I think for them it's about utilizing this particular ball at hand. And the only reason I can put this late declaration down to would be to have a slightly harder newies ball available to them in the morning.
Confidence soaring for South Africa, record soaring for South Africa. That number on your screen, it is the highest target anyone has ever set India in a test match in India. But let's go to the two blows India have already felt in their attempt to salvage 4 points from this game, Saba. Yashasvi Jaiswal out cutting, not for the first time in the very recent past.
It seems that they do have a game plan now. This proclivity of Yashasvi Jaiswal for those square cuts is hitting him very bad these days. Maybe the last 4 or 5 dismissals, even against West Indies, he was out in a similar manner. Now look at what happened to Yashasvi Jaiswal at Eden Gardens. Marco Jansen, first innings, inside edge, again trying to cut a delivery that was too close to him. Similar thing happened to him today. And today there is a strategy behind it. 2-3 overs, Marco Jansen tried to bounce him out, so many bounces, then sold him a dummy by bowling this delivery which was close to him, and Jaiswal felt that there is some room outside the off stump and he went for his favourite shot. So that's the kind of meticulous planning the South African bowling attack have done against most of the Indian batters, and once again that proved so fruitful for South Africa. But both the wickets, I think both of them got out in a very feckless manner. There was no need for any of them, for either Yashasvi Jaiswal or even KL Rahul to play that kind of a shot.
I want to stay on that Jaiswal mode of dismissal in particular, because it is a bit of a double-edged sword. It is Jaiswal's most productive shot. It's yielded him 294 runs, which is more than any other batter using the cut shot in tests since Jaiswal's debut. But 7 dismissals, 4 of them in the last 8 innings. You pointed to the previous test. There were also the dismissals to Jaden Seals when West Indies were here. How do you view this?
Well, you also need to choose the right ball to square cut. If the ball is too close to you, then you're better off trying to play off the back foot, trying to punch it through covers with a vertical bat instead of using the horizontal bat. And I think that at times happens when you are growing in your career. Bowlers tend to figure out some kind of a game plan, how to induce that kind of risk from the batter, and I think that is what has happened in the case of Yashasvi Jaiswal. Jaden Seals, the way he got him out at Ahmedabad Test match, over the stumps, again angled the delivery away from him. Again, it was close to his body to play that shot. So as I said, I think is trying to find that room outside the off stump, because that happens to be his favorite area, his most productive area. But at times you fall for that temptation, and I think that is what has happened to Yashasvi Jaiswal. He needs to be careful. He needs to have more clarity and better shot selection. Will yield him more valuable to his. That will be more valuable to his innings.
Vernon, weigh in on the bowling side's perspective when you start observing a pattern, especially with a player who's newer on the block. What have you made of South Africa and their plans, and how they've succeeded in getting Jaiswal out in this manner?
Yeah, I just feel that in the modern day there's a lot of technology available, and obviously once a trend starts to develop, people pick up on it. And I think the way Marco Jansen started off at him, targeting obviously with a straight line first up, obviously hit him on the body a couple of times, and you just felt that he was unsettled. But I think we've seen it against England when he came out. They put a deep point back because they know it's a strength of his. And very often, in the modern day arena, that your strength can lead to your downfall. So for me, again, it's perhaps a shot that he needs to analyze. And for me, it's about the timing again. I think against that rock hard new ball, you need to be a little bit more respectful towards that new ball, respected, because you understand it might bounce a little bit more up front when the ball's slightly harder. So it's about getting yourself in again. I think it's always going to be a high-scoring area for him, and you don't want to take it away from him. But he needs to be a lot more mindful as to when he wants to execute those shots. I think he's at the start of his career, he played it obviously wonderfully well, but now that people start to assess him, people start to obviously analyze, where his scoring areas are, and they start dotting that up. He needs to come up with a plan to say, you know what, I need to be a little bit more patient. Yes, it's always going to remain a massive scoring area for me, but I think that new ball needs a bit more respect.
Yeah, to grow in your career and to become more compact, this is a huge learning for Yashasvi Jaiswal, because now since he happens to be one of the mainstays of the Indian batting lineup, there will be bowlers and teams who will try and work out plans to dismiss you. And I think this is a case in point, the way they made plans against Yashasvi Jaiswal and kept bowling to him in that kind of a corridor, and eventually got him out. So that's what you need to learn as you progress in your Test career. There will be a number of occasions when bowlers, either spinners or pace bowlers, will target you through some specific game plan. So you need to work out that and then end up scoring more runs for your side.
Yeah, so that is now, as you see on your screen, 7 dismissals for Jaiswal attempting the cut shot to pacers. It's also being pointed out in a comment section from Musical being one that he's now fallen 9 times to left arm pace. We did see Mitch Stark in what was quite a feisty battle in the Border Gavaskar Trophy last year. So he has some thinking to do, and he has, well, the better part of 8 or 9 months to do that till the next time he bats in Test cricket. But his opening partner, KL Rahul, first just want you to elaborate further on the dismissal in this particular innings. It's a delivery from Harmer that has turned 6.2 degrees, but you felt that he could have tackled that differently?
Just by defending, instead of trying to play it on the one side. The moment you do so without getting to the pitch of the ball on a spinning delivery, especially on a track like this, you open up so many opportunities for the ball to squeeze in, and I think that's what happened. Because you tried to play him on the one side to a ball that was not pitched up to him, you left a big gap between bat and pad, and that was enough for Simon Harmer's delivery to castle him. So I think disappointing from KL Rahul, because as the most experienced batter in the lineup, more so in India, is looking to survive, looking to draw this test match. It was so important for KL Rahul to stay at the crease, and he has enough potential, he has enough experience to do so, and he has played on this kind of track before with some great numbers. But somehow, when you want to rely on KL Rahul, that's the time when he disappoints. I really felt, Yash, that post Virat Kohli's era and Rohit Sharma now out of the Test side, it is KL Rahul who will really flourish and blossom and take up the responsibility of being the best batter in the lineup. Unfortunately, scores have been as sporadic as they were when Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma were there in the Test side. So that difference, or that transition from being an inconsistent run getter to a very reliable and more consistent performer, that has still not taken place for KL Rahul.
We did see signs of him having turned a corner, because if you look at that England series, which was the first series for this transitioning batting lineup, of course Shubman Gill was the top run getter, but for KL Rahul that was the first series in which he had more than 400 runs in what is now a career spanning more than a decade. This series ends with 68 runs in 4 innings. There's been a lot of praise of how KL Rahul, especially on those tours of Australia and England, and the changes he's made to his game, they've worked for him. Is there work to be done when it comes to playing in home tests?
Well, all that work should have already taken place, Yash. Why do we say that there's still some work to be done from KL Rahul to do well on these tracks? If you have the kind of talent KL Rahul has got, he's got number of years of experience of playing on different kind of tracks, has done well in Sena countries, so you expect him to grow and score more freely. Somehow I feel that he gives me the impression that still yet to realize his potential in his own mind, that he's capable of getting a big 100 on these tracks. And as I said, I think experienced batters, they relish this challenge of playing in adverse conditions, and especially in this test series, that's not been the case for KL Rahul.
Vernon, quickly want your thoughts on KL Rahul, a player who you yourself have seen while you were playing, and what do you?
Yeah, I think if I can chip in. I mean, he's got all the attributes to become a wonderful batter. But I think the biggest thing is mindset for me. I've seen it so often. When you bat in the batting lineup with all these superstars, it's almost there's less pressure on you, as opposed to when you're the senior batter and you need to obviously step up and play that important innings to allow the guys to bat around you. So I just feel that yes, perhaps there's an expectation from himself as a now senior player, and maybe he must just break it down again. I think very often players look too far ahead. You obviously have a young East batting lineup around you, but in order to go about your game and give yourself the best opportunity to still succeed. But I just feel that he's perhaps putting too much pressure on himself. But again, I think as batters also, you look back at the type of deliveries that got you out. I don't think he could fault, either. I mean, the first innings or the second innings. I think it was a beautiful piece of bowling by both set of batters. Both set of bowlers, Kesaf as well as Simon Harm in the second innings. So you look back and you say, those two nuts, on any given day could get any top batter out. So yeah, you don't want to be too harsh as well at the end of the day. But like Saba said, it's perhaps for me the seniority thing that comes to mind. It's perhaps the expectation that he have of himself. So perhaps he's putting too much pressure on himself.
Right. So it ends for Jaiswal and KL Rahul with 83 and 68 runs respectively in this series. Let's start setting up what will be the final day of this series. Saba, Karim, for India, they have to bat a lot of time. Good thing is they have the batter who batted the most amount of time, who has come out at number 4. And you're saying it's
And
not as a
night watchman. Now, I want to reiterate that. He came out to bat when about 20-25 minutes were left in the game. So they sent him up because of his solid defensive technique that he showed in the first inning. And so far, the number of deliveries he has faced, he looks quite capable of staying there and playing for even tomorrow for that matter. I think that's the reason why he has been promoted, I would say that, Kuldeep Yadav, and has done quite well. And so I think that's the kind of instinct the other batters also have to show. Sai Sudarshan, I look at it as a huge opportunity. Can he bat through? Can he survive these difficult circumstances? He's up against some very strong bowling attack. He'll be up against Marco Jansen with the harder ball and then the two spinners. So does he have the technique? Does he have the temperament to survive those difficult hours? So that's a huge ask from all the Indian batters. But I'm looking at these youngsters as trying to push forward their case of the kind of talent and the skill that they've shown in the past.
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity as much as the game has slid out of India's hand and the series is lost. For someone like Sai Sudarshan, for someone like Dhruv Jurel, even Nitish Reddy, this is the kind of day where you can show that you have the test match grind in you and keep yourself in the conversation when India have to pick a side again.
Yeah, absolutely, Yash. I think this is the time for this young Indian batting lineup to come good. And I think it is going to be a big battle out there tomorrow. They will be tested. The game plan of South Africa have been so good so far. Bavuma has rotated his bowlers very well. At times we have felt that maybe a change here, maybe a change there, but he has stuck to his game plan, and so far it has yielded him some great results. So I think all these batters will be up against a very strong challenge from the South African bowlers as well as some very intelligent captaincy.
Vernon, before I ask you what South Africa are going to do on day 5, do you buy into the theory that Kuldeep Yadav is not a night watcher, but India have sent their most technically sound batter from the first innings as their new number 4?
I don't want to get into this debate with
in these conditions.
But I do feel that tomorrow morning is going to be a completely different ball game. I think the first innings, yes, he showed some great determination, to get through that little period, but tomorrow morning is going to be a completely different ball game. I think you're going to see a fired up Marco Jansen. He's going to be having a relatively still newish ball, but he will be using that short ball, obviously, against a Kuldeep Yadav. So it's going to be a completely different challenge for him. But I do feel South Africa, they would want to make inroads early, and I think they're going to be a little bit more aggressive in terms of their plans. So yeah, I think just on your point of a couple of the youngsters for the Indian team, I think it's a wonderful opportunity. You've got almost nothing to lose. You've got your back against the wall. So this is really the time where you put your hand up and show to selectors why they've selected you in the first place. But I think it's a wonderful opportunity for some of those youngsters. But again, I just can't see them lasting the entire day.
On the evidence of what we've seen in the last few innings, Vernon, that ball when it reaches a 35-40 over mark, wickets tend to not fall in clumps. That first session is where all the movement happens?
Absolutely, but I think also encouraging signs for South Africa that we saw the ball start turning a lot more out of that rough areas, and I think it's also the pace that the South African spinners had bowled, where they get the ball up above the eye line, inviting the players to come out of their crease to play the drive shot or to play the ball into the leg side, and that's where they've extracted the most spin from. So I think it's going to be a wonderful battle. India want to try and get that ball to overs number 30 as quick as they can, but at the end of the day, I just think that you knock 1 or 2 wickets over in the morning. You're opening up obviously a lot of doubt, in that batting lineup, which there's already been a lot of doubt. So yeah, I just feel that South Africa need 2 wickets to really open up an end for themselves.
All right, it is predictions time. Saba, Karim, are India surviving this?
For India's sake and for this young Indian batting lineup, I do expect them to work hard and try and get a draw from this test match. That'll be a terrific achievement for this young Indian batting lineup. Having said that, I feel that South Africa, they remain a clear favourites. The first session holds the key. If India can survive the first session by losing a max of maybe 2 wickets, India can still manage to go on and survive. Yeah, but it seems very difficult from this stage. Yes. I also feel that tomorrow, since whatever I have noticed, both the spinners, they've been able to understand the surface much better, and then the variation in pace, whatever I've seen so far, I expect an increase in that pace tomorrow. Because day 5, if you are quicker in the air, you will get more turn and bounce, this being a red soil, and tomorrow being day 5.
Vernon, Philander, one last time this series. Is this going to be over before
Yeah,
the second new ball comes in?
Yeah, I don't think there's a massive need and a massive emphasis on the second new ball. I think it's about the approach that this Indian team will show and how they're going to apply themselves. Given the nature of how these guys are playing, they're playing a positive brand of cricket, which simply suggests to me that there will be opportunity afforded to South Africa. From a defensive point of view, I don't think we've seen enough to convince me that technically they can survive the entire day. So I think therein lies the battle between bat and ball. So yeah, how are they going to play? Are they going to play defensively? And I think if they're going to play defensively, you're going to bring those fielders in around the bat with the extra bit of obviously turn and bounce that's on offer for South Africa. So it's such a fine balance that they have to work out. How they're going to go. Obviously, one, apply themselves, but how are they going to go about just surviving the whole day? You can't just block the whole day. I can guarantee you that. So in that, I'm going to come to the conclusion that South Africa will perhaps have them 6 down by the tea break in the morning. Sorry, Saba, I have to throw that one in there.
All right, he's been getting a lot of them right.
I know.
So let's see where it stands. Vernon, Philander, Saba, Karim, thank you so much for your company. These fine gentlemen will be with us all through the final day of this test series. Will South Africa make it 2-0? Can India survive and get 4 points from this game? Join us at tea time on day 5 on ESPNcricinfo Matchday.